edition that focuses on current issues, and our current issue is related to religious tolerance. Again, in order to talk about this and many more conversations, I've got you His Grace. Abune Filipos is the President of Holy Trinity University, Archbishop of the South Omo Diocese, and member of the Holy Synod. Thank you for blessing us.
Thank you for having me for this interview.
Amazing. So we have had a conversation about the resurrection and Easter, and now it's high time for us to talk about religious tolerance and everything related. Let's start with the issue of religious tolerance, the issue of attributes, uniting attributes, moral rules and moral values that unite Ethiopia, be it to talk about, be it to create interreligious tolerance.
This is our second meeting, even if it is different issues. In the Holy Friday or Good Friday and Holy Easter, we will discuss about religious values, cultural values, social values, and the message of the feasts. That was very good. And now it's our second session regarding our citizens and our nation, especially the current situation of Ethiopia is from bad to worse. So actually, Ethiopia is an ancient, the most ancient nation in the world. And also many beliefs and religions are founded in Ethiopia. And the country is rich in different tribes. More than 80 tribes are living together and working together, and they share their culture and their values. So it is the most great thing for Ethiopia, and the most great thing that the greatest thing which the country present and the people present to Africa and to the rest of the world is many things. Many things. For example, for Africa, it's on calendar, and it's on independence, and it's on through this independence struggle of independency, Ethiopians show their unity, their strength, and their togetherness, and their value to themselves and to human race. So Ethiopians are the people and the citizens of tolerance, love, peace, justice. And Ethiopia is the land of religion, and Ethiopians are the people of religious. They are religious people. And then the land itself is the land of religion. So, according to Homer, he is a known poet of the Greeks, especially in the Roman Empire. He was in the 800 BC scholar, and he is a poet, and he is also a philosopher. And he tried to mention and express Ethiopians. Ethiopians are gentle, hospitable, and just. he expressed this like this. Before 800 years before the birth of Christ. And also, we had so strong and very, very great leaders. For example, in 1000 BC, before Christ, a female leader whose name is Queen of Sheba. She was a very strong leader of Ethiopia, and she unified all the people around the nation, and even she was a wise woman, but she needed more wise wisdom, and she went to Jerusalem to visit King Solomon, her contemporary king of Israel. And she went there. She had so much wisdom, but she wanted to add more. The wisdom of unity, the wisdom of management, the wisdom of leadership, the wisdom of togetherness, the wisdom of power. So she bring another values from abroad. So these and other great leaders had Ethiopia, and great people had Ethiopia, and now also have great people, but few people disturb the majority. That is what we learn from the past. That is what we understand and inherit from the past leaders, people, our ancestors, our grand mom and papa. So this is what we have. Nowadays, I think we miss our history. I think we lost ourselves, because the new generation, the young generation, riding with emotions and with non-valued practices. It's not our value. It's not our culture. It's not our character, our behavior, because we must be the children of our fathers and our mothers. But we don't know where. I think this generation lost the way where to go. I don't know what is the result, what is the goal, what is the objective. One day I was crossing on Arat Kilo. I was in my car and driving, but the traffic jam is very crowded, and people are flooding here and there in two directions. Then one young man just accidentally running. The people are terrorized, and I don't know where they go. They are running, just following that person. Why he is running? We need to stop and stand and look. What are we doing? Yeah. Why he is running? Maybe he's running to take the bus. Maybe he's running to catch his brother or his sister in front of him. I don't know, we don't know. But sometimes it's, we are running and riding without knowing the case. So there are different incidences nowadays. Different incidences and different problems are challenging us as a nation, as a people, as a leaders, as a resident. We are in a bad situation.
Before we go to the situations, the violence and the intolerance that we are facing right now, I want you to relate the land, Ethiopia, with the history that we have got. For example, in one of the verses of the Holy Bible, Ethiopia, it states that Ethiopia raises her hand in order to expect from God, in order to thank God, to expect from God. And at the same time, in the Holy Quran, one of the verses states that the Prophet Muhammad have sent his followers to Ethiopia because there is a just king in Ethiopia. Yeah. So going through that history and coming to now, I think the relationship between that of the land of Ethiopia and the religious believers and institutions is so strong in a way that was the one thing, that is really the one thing that unites us. And I want you to relate those things with what is happening here in Ethiopia. And I want you to explain the relationship between Ethiopia as a land and the believers.
All historical books, all historical history of social, cultural, religious, and political books, touch how Ethiopia is the origin of human being, and also the land of hope. Some in the modern day nowadays, Americans say that America is the land of hope. Yeah, hope and opportunity. Yeah. In the ancient time, Ethiopia was the land of opportunity. Before the Muslim brothers and sisters come to migrate from Saudi Arabia to Ethiopia, other people came to Ethiopia because of persecution of Christianity. For example, in the time of Al-Amida, King Al-Amida IV, the father of Izana and Saizana, Abra and Azwa, in their Christian name, two brothers with their uncle came from Constantinople, from Greece, to India, crossing Red Sea. In that time, Ethiopia and the Roman Empire was in hostility. So they captured the two brothers, Frementus and Merapius, and their uncle also died. He was a very good boat sailor. He died on the shore, and they brought the two brothers and stay here, and they learned the culture, the language, and the elder brother became a bishop of Ethiopia.
The first bishop of Ethiopia.
Yeah, the first bishop of Ethiopia in the 4th century. Actually, Ethiopia accepted Christianity in the 1st century AD. We can read in the Holy Bible the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 8, verse 26. The Ethiopian eunuch traveled to Jerusalem for worshiping activity, and the Holy Spirit ordered the evangelist Philip and tried over his trolley. So in the 4th century, at the end of the 3rd century and the beginning of 4th century, Fragmentos, Bishop Abba Salama, later he became a bishop of Ethiopia. And Ethiopia gave citizenship for Fragmentos. He is originally from Tyre in Greek. And immediately the things are stable. After the things are stable, the king is asked these two brothers, do you want to back to home? Sidrakos wanted to back to home. And his elder brother, Fragmentos, no, I'm Ethiopian. Because the people is my people, their religion is my religion, their culture is my culture, and their language is my language, their religion is my religion. And I better to be here. And the next step, the second step, the 9 saints also came to Ethiopia. It's not right that the Romans sent to Ethiopia to teach religion, but Roman Empire persecuted the 9 saints. And they came across Egypt and Sudan. And they arrived to Aksum. And Aksum, the Aksumite Empire accepted. It was in the time of King Caleb. And they stay here. And they learn the language, the religion, the books. They are originally Christians, and they have the background of the Holy Bible, and they translated the Greek version of the Holy Bible to Greek. That's why the oldest version of the book of Enoch is found in Ethiopia. And the next step, next to the 9 saints, the followers of Muhammad, the prophet, came to Ethiopia because of the persecution in South Arabia. And the prophet Muhammad said that there is the land of opportunity, there is the land of peace, and the king of that land is just and hospitable. Go there. And they came. They came to Ethiopia, and even the daughter of Muhammad, together with those, they came here, and they stay here. So from that until to the 9th century AD, Ethiopia was very, very, developed and great nation. And that time, the Queen Eurydice, or the firewoman, the church said that the firewoman, because she fired all the churches and killed the priests, the Christians, without discrimination. All Ethiopians were in suffering at that time for 40 years. But they challenge it. The whole people coming together and fight it and bring stability. And then in the time of King Lebnadingel, even Ibrahim El-Ghazi, in Ethiopian name Gray Muhammad, at that time also there was a big mess to Ethiopia. And it also passed, and the people still there.
We have seen the intrusion of the Westerners through the Portuguese and the Turkish.
Yeah, they interfere. There was the interference. It's begun in that time. especially the Byzantine Empire, the Zen Turkey was interfered in that conflict. Then next that, the era of judges. Still in that time, the interference of the Westerners is there, because the Anglicans, the Jesuits coming, and the judges of Ethiopia. Ethiopia was fragmented in different parts. For example, the Gondar leader, the Gojam leaders, and the Shoa leaders, the Tigray, the Wollo, and they all fight for themselves only. So in this fragmentation time, even the people were together, support each other.
These were the times that we have seen through Yodit Gudit, through the different conflicts. Yeah. One of my questions with regards to this is, are we learning from history? Because we have seen the basic conflicts. Ethiopia has had the conflicts during the Granya Muhammad's period. And then there was lots of conflicts even before that. Yodit Gudit has brought such a religious conflict. Yeah. And internationally there was the Crusades. There was the 100 Days Wars and everything related. So history has taught us these all conflicts has brought nothing, has brought no solution. Yeah. And I want you to delve into, it's not bringing us solutions. Are we learning from the past mistakes?
So we need, I don't know whether this generation knows or not, I don't know about this history. Even the Crusades. When I was in the high school, I learned at Crusade, how Crusade and Crusaders did and what they were lost. But we don't know. Nowadays, do the generation learn about Yodit Gudit? Do the generation learn about Abra and Azwa? Do the generation, the young kids and the young people learn about Queen of Sheba or Queen of Kandasi? I don't know. So after that, after the judges, when God willed to raise the known person, King Theodros, Emperor Theodros is rising. As you say that, the Holy Bible, mention Ethiopia more than 46 times. The Holy Bible. As you said before, Ethiopia stretched her hand to God. Why? Why she stretch? To get mercy from God. That implies that the people of God is religious people, and the land, Ethiopia, is a land of religion. So, as I told you before, Queen of Sheba is mentioned in the first king of chapter 10, verse 1. And even the prophet Jeremiah also raised and mentioned a lot of time. And King David also said that Ethiopia stretched her hand. So down to the centuries, back to the centuries. When we back to the centuries, we have great history. We need look forward to toward our history. So if we learn and understand our history, there are conflicts, there are differences, there are persecutions, there are oppressions, there are oppressed people. But why we repeat these kinds of things? These are bad things. So how they escape, how they pass this problem, this challenge, they pass the challenge. Through that challenge, through that, burned fire, they taught us unity. They taught us, they teach us peace, justice, togetherness, love. So why there are dresses in the churches that the dress of Gray Muhammad? He did bad things, as the history tells us, but it's history, the part of history. So that Gray Muhammad did that thing, but all Muslims didn't do that. So we have to look broadly, widely, because Ethiopia is our mother, Ethiopia is our origin, Ethiopia is our hope, Ethiopia is the greatest country in the world. I said again, Ethiopia is the greatest country, and the people is the greatest people of the world.
Let's dive into what is going on here in Ethiopia and the situation after the violence, after the intolerance that happened first in Gondar and then has escalated to be a conflict, burning of churches in Silte zone, Warabi Warada. First, what was you feeling like? What did you feel when you heard about this?
It's heartbreaking incidents, very bad feeling. It is very, very terrifying because it's not our habits, it's not our character, it's not our culture, it's not our value. If there is some kind of disagreement, we need to the table and discuss about everything. We have good customs and cultures. If there is something happen, bad things, we have elders, we have religious leaders. So we don't need to kill each other. What is why we burn the church? Why we burn the mosque? Why we kill the poor people, the elders, the children, the women? Why? So it's very, very, very heartbreaking. It's very bad. I don't have words to say something about that, but just it's very, very, very sad. You know, history tells us all religions in Ethiopia have lived together. We are not copied politics to religion, but I don't know, maybe we copied from outside. It's not Ethiopian politics. It's not. Just we take a copy of other nation or the culture of other, maybe Western or somewhere, I don't know, where we copied it. Pushing brothers and sisters, persecuting, neglecting, marginalizing, killing, brothers and sisters, is not the history of Ethiopia. Maybe the two political parties made conflict, but because of religion in Ethiopia, there was no war. I don't read any book about that. Maybe some historians wrote about the war between Ahmed Grany and Lebanon Engel. Maybe they consider that is religious points of view. Historians understand in different ways, but the people are together. The people are working and living together. The culture is the same, but few people bring a sword and gun and disturb the people. So it's not a copy, but just because of the lack of understanding the past history, lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, lack of spirituality, lack of Ethiopian, being Ethiopian, lack of being Ethiopian. So, in the battle, in the empire period, the Battle of Pharaoh was broken out, and all Muslims, Christians, and other religion, different tribes coming together and lay down to their nationality. They gave their lives for their unity, for their integrity, for their identity. So there are different bad historical incidents happened, but this one is, for me, is worst.
Okay.
Who made a problem, we lost it. For those who stand on behalf of those who are working hard for the unity, for the integrity, for the well-beingness of the citizens, we have some values, good values, but we lost it. You know, moral values are taken or started in family life. What the kids and the young generation learned from their family? Our families are working on their children. Are they telling about Ethiopia or about their village? What we are teaching to the young generation? You know, everything is starting from, for us as a human being, we must learn from our mom and dad everything about nationality, about religion, about social values, about culture, about language. We started there. If the foundation is strong, the building will be strong. Next to that, the responsible body next to the family is the society. What the society tells us. Are we restricted in that village, or are we broader? Are we thinking broadly about Ethiopia, about the citizen, about the human being, about the nation. From that background, we are transferred to school. Our elementary schools did, do, and doing to cultivate a good citizen? What about our high schools? What about our universities and colleges? What are they doing? What about the curriculum? Are all students from elementary school to university, and are all scholars or teachers from elementary school to universities know what they taught their students? Are our curriculum included all Ethiopian histories? For example, the students from Amhara region and the student from Oromia region, do they have the same understanding about the country? And in the high school, for example, the national language is Amharic, but there are students who couldn't speak Amharic. For example, from Amhara region to Oromia region, if one teacher or one scholar came to Oromia, how can he communicate? Why if it is mandatory, why don't we learn Oromifa? Why don't we learn Tigray? Why don't? Yeah, for bringing inclusiveness, why don't? And the history of Ethiopia is not, for me, not known for this generation. So we lost all moral values because of that we missed this war. So for example, still now in the rural area, this habit or culture is alive. For example, when you cross the road, there is a cross roads. One elder man comes, and across that way, the younger man is coming. To help. No. Just they are going in different ways. But they are made on that cross road.
No junction.
But the young man is standing and waiting the old man to pass through first. It's respect. But for this generation, this kind of respect is backwardness. Because we didn't tell the culture for this generation. So people are fighting on the road, and older people are looking and watching. People are passing through them. They don't make kind of separation. So I don't know why this happened. The first thing is, one way we need revive. We need restore what we had. From it must be the responsibility of the parents, the family, and next the society, and the third the educational centers or institutions, the government itself. The government is, for me, the government is a father, and religious saints, religious fathers are mothers. You know, most of the time, father is very more protective and also more aggressive to correct the children. So the government must be protective and also kinds of medical correction. He must be corrected.
Yeah, that's the question that I like to ask you. That's related to the government. What should be the work of the government in its security apparatus in order to guarantee rule of law and stability in the country? Because this situation is going on, and we need to rectify the situation.
Yeah, it must be decisive. The government means decisive and strong, from top to bottom. They must be examined themselves. Where are they? They must be examined themselves because the government, the governing body in the bottom, if they are careless, the people, who will be guaranteed for the people? So this is, you know, the government is responsible to protect the people, to protect the religious leaders, to protect the religious institutions and organizations. So he must be stand with the helpless. He must be stand with the neglected. He must be stand with the marginalized. He must be stand with the helpless children. He must be stand with the woman. He must be stand with the elders. Because through this conflict, the victims are children, women, elders, and the helpless people. So, decisive and protective.
At the same time, this will bring us to the roles of religious fathers in order to bring unity, in order to bring peace, in order to bring justice in these activities, in these scenarios. What should be the role of religious fathers?
Both spiritual and secular leaders are responsible for protecting and keeping the people. Maybe the way of protecting and keeping the people is maybe it's different. The government is on his way, and the religious leaders also use their power to protect the people. For example, the first power for the religious people is prayer. Prayerful. And also teaching. For example, the government must be protect the people, look after the people, the helpless, as I said before, and avoid the kinds of violences, and do not hide damages. Do not. In some places, it's hidden. Maybe the information from the bottom to the top is distorted. And the top leaders must get down to the place that the problem happened. They must be. And they must also prepare pre-damage protection system. This is the first thing, the main thing. So when we come to the religious leaders, most religious leaders are responsible to correct both the people and the leaders. We don't need to fear them. We need to respect them. I respect all the leaders. But if they are standing on the wrong direction or in the wrong way, I'm not afraid to warn them back to the right track. I don't need. So the government, and the followers or their followers. So, for example, both the Old and the New Testament leaders, spiritual leaders, the prophets, the teachers, the apostles, the evangelists, the martyrs, and all great fathers gave a warning for the leaders. No, you are not right. You are unjust. Be justful. They give this kind of advice and correction. For example, the word of the Lord from the book of Jeremiah, Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 16 to 22. The word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have made you watchman unto the house of Israel. Both the spiritual leaders and the secular leaders, the political leaders, are watchmen of the people. And he said, and continue, hear the governments and the leaders, hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning. From me, when I say to the wicked, you shall surely die, and you gives him or her not warning. This is the word of God and the command of God to the spiritual leader, to Ezekiel. And Ezekiel was a prophet, and in his time also more than 4 kings of Israel were reigning over the people of Israel. So warning, not speaking the word to warn the wicked from his or her wicked way, to save his or her blood will I require from you. Because, all human beings, whether great or weak, whether leader or ordinary people, there is a time of death for every one of us. So God ordered him that I need the blood of that person from you. Because of you don't give a warning, don't do this and come to the right way, he might die.
He needs to give them direction.
Yeah. So but he or his or her blood will I require at your hand. Yet if you warn the wicked, and he or she turn not from the wickedness, he or she shall die in his or her wickedness, but you have delivered your soul. So we are free of that sin. We are free of that wrong direction of the leader. So, this is the command of God to the spiritual leaders, even the weak leaders of the nation. So, in the New Testament also, John the Baptist confronted with the king of Judea, Herod. He challenged him. No way. This is wrong. Don't do that. Don't do this. Because of he confronted with him and warned him, Herod massacred him. Maybe spiritual leaders or religious leaders, when they are give warning and direction, or no, this is not, or this is wrong, there might be kind of torture or kinds of hate, but we must live for our mind and for our truth. So Herod confronts with the king, and all great fathers did their best to correct leaders, to teach love, peace, unity, justice, and so on. So they did their best. Now is our turn to do what our forefathers did. So there are different points of view for every one of us. And but the history and the Holy Scriptures tell us the truth. In the Holy Scriptures, we can get history, politics, religion, leadership, sociology, anthropology, philosophy, psychology, leadership, management, even accounting, economics. The Holy Scripture is full of our life.
Going to the issue of the faithful, because we expect something from the faithful, from the believers, whenever such violence happens, because church and religious centers are places of solace, place of comfort, place of peace. And when they turn to a place of conflict and violence, what's expected from the believer?
The first thing is that following their leaders, means spiritual leaders, first, regarding their religion, their faith, their value, their culture, their religious stand. But before everything is happening, or the conflict, or some problems happening, we have to really, mind readiness. It is a part of our life. Since the foundation, Christianity, the foundation of Christianity, it's founded on the cross. But always we have to be protective for our churches and our believers. We must be protected. We must be. When our protection is not in the way of violence, protecting, lawfully, and the believers must be prayerful, prayer, protectiveness, and supportive, cooperative. So we must look to each other. We must. we must be united, and we must be stand together to have peace, to have love, to have unity. Not only for the Christians, all believers of religions must be stand together for the will, for the wellness of all human beings in the country, even in the world. Other nations, the citizens of other nations, even are protective for animals. So we need to be protective for every and each life of human being.
Be my final question before the final remarks that I will ask you. I believe it's now high time for us to start with interreligious dialogue and start exercising religious tolerance in a bigger manner than we used to. I want to hear your take on this, and if there is any activity right now in order to bring a solution, to bring a remedy to what has happened here in Ethiopia. I want you to tell us about it.
You know what? Religious leaders of the past, the present, and the future are the protector. And the protector, the servants, and the mediators of the citizens. So, from the past until now, we are living in a respectful manner. We are working together. Even when we, for example, I was in South Wollo, in the monastery, while I was in a hermetic life. And in the village, that both Muslims and Christians are living together, and they are together in social life. They are together with their weddings. So, if the Christians have wedding ceremony, the Muslims are coming together, and they chant, and they sing together, and the Christians prepare food for Muslims, and when the Muslims have a wedding, the Christians come together